joining me today. Today we are doing part 6 of my Dumpster Fire Use What You Have bullet journal series. And last time I actually drew out a sewing pen. I don't know what I was thinking when I was throwing everything into the little guy, but sewing pen it is. So we're going to be using the Stitch Happy pen. It's a punch needle kit from We Are Memory Keepers. It says, easily add stitch details to any project. I know this is my second We Are Memory Keepers product in a row, but we're gonna go for it and see. Again, we'll be using my Kraft paper, Archer and Olive. And what I was actually thinking of doing, I grabbed some pieces from my notepads, my Archer and Olive dark red notepads, and I was going to stitch onto this paper and then glue it in. That way I'm preserving the pages behind it. I've already done the sketching, so I just have the sewing left to do. And then I was going to be doing a lace border around the sides, which again, I created ahead of time so that this video wouldn't take forever. But let's take a look at the Stitch Happy pen now. So this is the We Are Memory Keepers Stitch Happy pen. I bought this quite a while ago and I just never used it. So we're gonna unpack it and take a look. Like all the We Are Memory Keepers products, it comes with instructions and it has a little frame. So we'll check that out. It looks like the frame is to hold the stencil in place. And we're gonna give this a try and see how it goes. It comes with white thread. For my black paper, I was planning on using black thread that I've misplaced somewhere on my desk. I just had this little guy of black thread that we're going to use, and we're going to see how it goes. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. So this project honestly almost broke me. I got about a quarter of the way through sewing this first portion and I was ready to give up. I did a lot of editing and cut out a lot of me struggling. This was my third attempt at getting this outline of the face started, and it took forever. And you can glimpse the massive mess that was created on the back of the paper. Now, this was my first time using it, and I got a lot better by the time I started working on my white page, but it was really frustrating. The cotton was constantly unraveling and knotting, and so basically I've edited out most of the footage of me just rolling the cotton thread back onto the spool. I do still think it was faster than using just a needle and thread, so I will say that. But overall, this process, it took a long time. I forgot how much I've edited out, but I wanted to make it actually watchable for you. I'm just showing you the general idea of what I went through to put this together. At this point, I was so sick of the thread unraveling as I was sewing more. I just ended up using clear tape and sticking everything down at the back to hold it in place. And it worked. It worked really well. I was really happy when I decided to just say screw it and started taping everything down. Now, at one point I did accidentally pull the thread out of the pen and I had to rethread it. And it was super simple and super easy. You're gonna see here in a minute where I pull it out. It actually came with these circular things that you thread through, and you then thread the cotton through that and you just pull it out at the bottom of the pen. So that worked really well. But it was mostly the freewheeling cotton thread that was really bothering me. So I did the mouths separately, and I wanted to show you how I did the mouths because they were a perfect example of how I created everything else without having to watch hours of footage. And then I found that the black thread that I was using was a little bit too thin, so I ran into a lot of problems with it, namely it was knotting a lot. Now the paper I'm using is 160 GSM, so it's nice and thick. They do recommend that you use at least 2 pieces of cardboard when you sew the paper, and thankfully this was thick enough that I didn't run into too many issues. And I also made sure that my stitches were wide enough apart that there wasn't any real damage to the paper at any point. Now, I kept my designs very simple, or at least I thought simple. So the sewing wasn't too tedious. It was with the flowers for sure, but definitely with my sunglasses, it was a lot easier and a lot quicker. So as you can see, I'm frantically spooling the thread back on since it unraveled very easily and it knotted a lot. But as I mentioned, it was thin enough that it wasn't an issue pulling it through the paper, but it was still annoying. So now I'm going in with the Dyan Reveley, a heck of Hexies stamp set. I thought it would be fun to throw these in the background, especially because my designs that I sewed were inspired by her images. So I thought it would be fun to kind of tie my work in with hers, since I'm a huge fan of her stamp and artwork. I love it. As always, I'm adding my borders. And something was still missing, so I went in and I drew a lace border over top of the stamps. Now, I can't really see it and it doesn't look like much, but it definitely made a difference in terms of the overall effect. I went in with my heavy-duty double-sided tape. I wasn't messing around with this. I wanted this to be over and done with. So that's what you see me using here. It's called red line tape. And that is my final layout. So thank you so much for joining me today.